All right, sit back.
Wow. Hey, I got a question. All right, hold up. Let's get my hand, Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the basement. That's BASSMINT, and we got with us a heavyweight on the bass. Tell us your name, sir.
Bobby Vega.
Hello. Mr. Bobby Vega, how you doing? Welcome to the basement, man.
Thank you.
And also hanging out with us in the basement, we got another Detroit bass player and BASSmint alumni. Oh. Tell us your name.
Donald Max.
What's up, Donald? Also hanging out with us, we got a new in the basement, buddy plays the bass. Tell us your name.
Nate Young.
Nate Young. Now, are you a Detroit bass player?
Detroit bass player via Austin, Texas.
Via Austin, Texas. That's how we do. We get born and raised in Detroit, and then we just branch out and take over.
There you go.
Infest other states, you know.
That's the way. Right.
Also hanging out with us. Tell us your name.
Oh, I'm Gail Young.
Okay, you play bass, Gail?
No, I don't, but I'm the wife of a bass.
She played with a bass player.
That's good.
So I guess I do play. Oh.
she's my wife, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm from Detroit also.
Okay, well, welcome to the basement. Also hanging out with us in the basement. Tell us your name.
Anthony McDonald.
Anthony, now, I you know, when I teach bass, I always tell them, hey, this is the headstock, but that don't have no headstock.
Yeah, it's the headstock right here, see?
Yes. Okay. Wow, man, what the heck is that? That's a weapon.
Say hello to my little friend.
Okay, folks, this is Anthony of Anthony Custom Basses out of Chicago, and we're going to be doing an interview with him shortly. He can tell us all about his basses and stuff. Also hanging out with us is none other than our gracious host. Tell us your name, sir.
Reginald Canty. They let me come over here sometime.
Yeah, Mr. Reginald Canty. As always, thank you for letting us hang out in the basement, man. And also hanging out with us is my man. Tell us your name.
Darren Jackson, D-Rasta.
D-Rasta. Another Detroit bass player via Chicago area.
Right.
All right, thanks, man. And
I'm here representing Anthony Custom Basses, but he's out of Oakland. He builds his out of Oakland.
Oh, out of Oakland, not Chicago.
Oakland, California.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Right in your neck of the woods.
Right up the street.
Okay, well, again, welcome to the basement. By the way, D-Rasta is an alumni. He always brings some basses when he got time to come hang out from Chicago. We're going to talk to them about Anthony Basses here soon, so make sure you watch that episode too. But in the meantime, again, we got the man himself, the myth. I done seen him in almost every magazine. Mr. Bobby Vega, man. My first question to you is, when did you start playing the bass and why?
When was probably about maybe the 7th grade. And I don't know what year that was.
Okay.
You know, ish. And then how it started was, there was friends of mine that had a band, right? And so my mother had bought me a little cassette deck, right? And I had a cassette deck, and I had what was that? Born on the Bayou, Creedence Clearwater tape she bought me. So I was listening to it, and I walked down to my friend's house and I saw them. I said, man, check this out. And they go, well, we're in a band. And I went, oh, my uncle has a guitar, right? And I said, you want to borrow it? They said, no, we want you to come down and play bass on it. And I went, no. And they said, no, come on, bring it down. So that's how I started.
Okay, so you already knew what a bass was before you even started messing with it?
No. I mean, I wanted to play an instrument, but I never, people in the family would bring like a saxophone home, and I go, and it wouldn't, and then one time my father had a guitar, and he told me, I could have it, and he tuned the string of it, it popped, it hit me in the face, and then I went to the hock shop, and I never got the guitar, So my father and my uncle wanted to become Chuck Berry, and they bought guitars. So my grandmother bought the guitar off my uncle, and that's the guitar that I started to play bass on with like 5 strings. I didn't even know how to tune it up, and I went down to my friend's house and started to try to play.
And so then what happened from there? When did you finally get what we call a real bass?
I told my mother wanted to get a bass, and she goes, okay. So she went to the Montgomery Ward's catalog, and I got a normal bass for $52.95. And so my mother ordered it. We went down right to Montgomery Ward's, went to the catalog department. They picked it up. She ordered it, picked it up, and then she filled out a credit app, and she worked hard and paid that bass off for me. And that was my first bass.
Well, $52 back then was a lot of money.
$52.95. The credit app.
Truth be known,
Yes.
things go around, what comes around goes around. $52 is a lot of money right now, too. Okay, so
Yes.
now we know you from playing with a lot of different people, what we call a side man in the business. But how did that get started, man? You mentioned some of the guys. Anytime these guys that didn't go as far as you did, and you want to throw some history names out there, if you can remember, by all means do it. But how did you start getting into the music business from that band, and when you got your first Montgomery Ward bass?
I mean, so in other words, how I started getting gigs and
Yeah, what happened?
okay, I've always had. Once I started with and got a bass, and even before that, I'd go to all the music stores. So I would read the want ads, right on Sunday. They have bigger ads, and I'd see the prices, and I would go to all the music stores in the Bay Area. Like I'd go to Angelo's right on Geneva. I'd go to Super Music on Mission Street. I'd go down to Columbia, which was on Market Street. Go to Sherman and Clay in Stonestown, Sherman and Clay on Kearny Street in downtown, and then downwards Music City, and then all the pawn shops. So I would just scour them like a little kid. And I finally got a job at Downwards Music City, and it was the biggest music store in San Francisco.
So you from San Francisco?
Yeah, I was born and raised in San Francisco.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And so after a while, they give you a polish cloth, and you start polishing guitars.
Wow.
And so at 15, that's how a lot of stuff started, like kind of coming up in folklore, because I started working at a music store. But always in the neighborhoods, there was always different bands in different neighborhoods. San Francisco has a bunch of districts, and so there'd be South Park, and they were into Kool and the Gang, right? And then over in Lakeview, we were in like James Brown and Tower of Power, and then other sections of town had different rock groups, and it was different. Every neighborhood had a bar, right? So I would go to like at night, you could sit out in front of the bar and listen to bands. So I got to see a lot of different bands and music, and that really encouraged me to play and to do stuff. So I got to hear and see a lot. And later on, I used to go to the Fillmore West. That was Bill Graham's place. And I get to see like Tower Power, Dr. John, Santana, Johnny Winter. I washed the floors at Family Dog. Oops, I picked. That was Chet Helms' place. And I'd get to see Soundcheck, and then I'd get to see like Ball and Jack, Big Mama Thornton, Santana again, and different acts. So I got to see a lot of music, and I was always just like watching the bass player and seeing that, because back then the only thing through the PA was really the drums and the vocals and maybe a horn, and everything else just bled through the microphones. Right. So anyway, I saw all that stuff, and that's that's what I want to do. So I was hooked. You know what I mean? That was, it just looked like fun, and it just, you know.
So where'd you get that, what they call a lucky break?
Oh,
And with whom?
I was working at Don Weir's Music City, and there was different players that come in, and there was this guy named Jake, and he has like a frizzy hair and a Les Paul. And he goes, man, you play good. And he goes, I saw it. So one day he came in and he goes, hey man, you want to go play with Bo Diddley? And I said, man, I don't care, yeah. And he goes, okay. He goes, man, we'll be at the Fremont Drag Strip. So I got to play with Bo Diddley at the Fremont Drag Strip. I think I was, I don't know, 16 or something. And I didn't know who Bo Diddley was. You know, I had my jazz bass. I had a PV amplifier borrowed from Don Weir's. My friends gave me a ride in their Volkswagen. We played at the Fremont Drag Strip. The tubes opened up, Bo Diddley, and we played. And I didn't know Bo anything, so I was sitting there, just beating the bass. And at the end of the gig, he goes, "You did good, son." And he gave me $75 bills. And I had this big old, I looked like a thing of toilet paper because it was all funky drag strip dollars. And my friends thought I was over and had money. We went to Lions, and that was, they ate up about $30 of it.
That's awesome, though.
So that was like one of the first times.
And then, well, how did it keep going?
Well, I worked at the music store, so, groups like Santana, Sly, whoever came into town would stop at Don Weir's, the music store, because back in the day, or back, in the early 70s, bands would come in and you would see these people, and I'd work in the warehouse. And then I was the warehouse boy, so they go, "Hey, excuse me, can we get our warehouse boy to demonstrate this?" So they'd get me on the bass, and I'd go boogity, boogity, baggity, and then they'd push all the buttons, and then they go, "Okay, thanks, Bobby." And they'd put me in the back, and they go, "Give me a PV with a 215 bomb." I said, "Okay, Don." And I'd go get the box, and so word got out, and then that's how I met Greg Rico, who was the original drummer of Sly and the Family Stone. And he asked me, I did a record called Ike. It was for an artist named Ike White called "Changing Times," and it was recorded in Tehachapi Prison. If you YouTube it, you'll see Ike White. And that was like my first kind of like record that I played with Greg Rico.
Awesome. That's good, man.